Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into a story that starts, you won't even believe this, with a guy doing stand-up comedy in, basements and tiny clubs, sometimes for as little as $25 a night.
$25, just imagine.
Right. But jump forward to today, and that same man, Kevin Hart, he's not just telling jokes anymore, he's running an empire. We're talking valued at, get this, around $450 million by 2025.
It's astronomical. And it's not your typical, comedian gets lucky story. Not at all.
Exactly. This isn't just about hitting it big. It's about someone who didn't just deliver punchlines. He built this incredibly complex, sophisticated business machine behind every single laugh. So the big question we're trying to decode today is how? How exactly did he pull this off? Because when you really unpack it, the surprise isn't just that he became this mogul, it's how he did it. And it might make you question things, like what if his real genius wasn't just the comedy, but the fact that he was thinking, operating like a founder, like a CEO, right from day one? What if your talent isn't the product, but actually your startup?
That's the core of it, really. And for this deep dive, we're going way beyond just the basic biofacts. We're looking at the specific strategic moves, the shifts that turn those punchlines into actual profit and turn spotlights into, strategic assets.
Right.
We're talking a massive empire now. Films, TV, a whole digital comedy network, restaurants popping up, premium tequila, even getting into things like tech investments and plant-based fast food. It's huge.
Wow.
And we've pulled together insights from, everywhere. Financial reports, industry analysis, Kevin's own interviews, documentaries, trying to give you a really comprehensive picture of how he did it, the method behind the millions, you could say.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, because Kevin Hart, he didn't exactly grow up wealthy.
Yeah.
Far from it. North Philadelphia back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, tough environment. His dad was struggling with addiction, in and out of jail. His mom, Nancy, she was really holding things together, working 2 jobs, data technician, I think, just grinding to make ends meet.
So money wasn't just scarce, it was
loaded, a source of conflict, probably stress every single day.
Yeah.
It shapes how you see the world.
Absolutely. And for him, comedy initially, it wasn't like a strategic career move, right?
Yeah.
It was more of an escape.
Totally. It was a way to get seen, find his voice, make people laugh, maybe forget the struggles for a bit. He was doing sets in basements, back rooms of fast food joints, anywhere he could get a mic.
For that $25 sometimes.
Exactly. Barely gas money. But that wasn't just low pay. It was a harsh lesson, The real education in the economics of entertainment. He saw firsthand. Talent alone. Not enough. Not for stability, anyway.
Yeah.
He had to understand the business side, the actual math behind the money.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How did your own early experiences with money maybe subconsciously shape how you handle it now? Is it stressful, but just a tool? Or something strategic?
A good question for everyone.
Because for Kevin, something really clicked. Late 20s, maybe, a huge shift happened. Instead of just waiting around, hoping to get discovered, hoping for that big break like pretty much every other comedian.
Which is the standard path, right? Wait for the call.
Totally.
Yeah.
But he made this, really bold decision. He decided he was going to own his platform, build his own thing from the ground up rather than just, hoping for a seat at someone else's table.
That's it, exactly.
Right.
And look, now it sounds like basic business sense, maybe. But back then, in that industry, with all the gatekeepers, it was radical.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Most people chase the big upfront check, the immediate payout. They'd sign away rights just for exposure. But Kevin, he saw every little gig, every small part, not as money to spend, but as seed capital. Reinvestment.
So he was playing the long game from the start.
Fundamentally, he was willing to turn down bigger checks up front for smaller ownership stakes that seemed tiny then, but, they became massive later. A perfect example is Laugh at My Pain, his 2011 special.
Yes, that was huge.
Huge. And he self-funded it entirely. Put his own money on the line. It grossed over $15 million at the box office. And because he owned it, he kept the vast majority of that profit. That just didn't happen for comedians back then.
Wow. So that wasn't just a one-off success. It was his strategy.
It became his pattern. Earn, reinvest, own. Earn, reinvest, own. Every dollar was a seed for the next thing, not just something to cash out.
Okay, so fast forward a few years, maybe to around 2015. Hollywood's really knocking now, right? The big studios want him.
Oh, yeah. They wanted him badly. But here's the difference. He wasn't just some talent for hire they could dictate terms to. He was already a brand.
With leverage.
Exactly. He had fan data from his own tours. He had proof of concept from his indie film success. He could sell out arenas, Madison Square Garden even, without a big studio backing him. So when they came calling, they weren't negotiating with just an agent. They were negotiating with someone who had already built his own mini empire. That completely changes the power dynamic.
So that reported $450 million net worth. It's not just saved earnings.
Not at all. That number, according to Forbes, Investopedia, places like that, it represents ownership. Real, tangible ownership.
Yep.
Content libraries, companies, equity stakes.
Like Heartbeat Production.
Right. His media company, making films, series, specials for all the big streamers. Then there's the Laugh Out Loud Network, his digital platform with deals directly with Peacock, YouTube, Facebook. He owns the pipes,
And Heartbeat Ventures, too.
Yeah, his investment arm. Putting money into wellness, tech, the creator economy. It's a diversified portfolio, not just a single income stream.
And he has this rule, right?
Right.
Never be dependent on just one thing, not even comedy.
Crystal clear rule.
Yeah.
Never be dependent, which sounds almost counterintuitive for a comedian, doesn't it?
It really does. How does that actually play out? How is he different from another huge comedian who's just happy cashing massive movie checks?
It's a fundamental difference in mindset. Most entertainers, let's be honest, use money to feel rich.
Yeah.
Buy the big house, the flashy cars, project success, Kevin. He uses money to build freedom.
Freedom meaning.
Options. The option to say no to a project, even a big one, if it doesn't fit his long-term vision. The option to walk away from a bad deal. The option to theoretically take a year off performing and have the whole machine keep running because he built it that way.
Right.
He actually said, I'm not in this just to be funny. I'm in this to be free. And funny pays for the freedom. That requires discipline. Turning down short-term cash for long-term control and autonomy. Most people just don't do that.
So it's like this financial flywheel he created.
Exactly. Performance fuels the product, like a self-funded special.
Right. The product generates data and revenue, which becomes the platform.
And the platform gives him power and leverage for the next thing. It just keeps feeding itself, getting stronger.
Which really brings it back to the listener, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you just earning to get by? Or are you consciously earning to buy back control? Your time, your choices.
Because Kevin Hart didn't get to $450 million just by telling better jokes. He got there by asking fundamentally different financial questions and then having the discipline to act on those answers.
Okay, so one of Kevin's first really radical career moves was simply not waiting to be picked.
Yeah, the traditional path for a comedian in Hollywood is pretty set, right? Grind stand-up, hope an agent sees you, maybe get cast in a sitcom, then a movie. And you just hope the phone keeps ringing. You're reliant on others.
Totally dependent. Auditions, callbacks, middlemen.
Exactly. But Kevin just completely broke that mold. He understood really early on that if he wanted to be treated like a business, not just talent, he couldn't rely on someone else discovering him. He had to position himself, his brand, as a product with proven demand already baked in.
Thinking like an entrepreneur, not just an artist.
Right from the start. His stand-up career was his first startup, and he was the founder, CEO, everything.
Which leads to Heartbeat Productions, founded in 2009. That feels incredibly early for a comedian to be thinking about owning production.
It was incredibly early, and the industry reaction was basically, he's crazy, or, oh, it's just a vanity project. A comedian owning the means of production. Writing, filming, editing, owning the rights, it was unheard of.
So how did he even get that off the ground? Who believed in it back then?
Well, it wasn't really about getting others to believe in it at first. It was about proving it worked. And the proof, the real seismic shift, came with Laugh at My Pain in 2011.
The self-funded one we talked about.
Exactly. Produced by his own very new company, grossing over $15 million in theaters. Most comedy specials never see the inside of a theater, let alone make that kind of money independently.
Right.
He didn't just perform, he distributed. He bypassed the whole studio system that normally takes the biggest cut and controls everything. It proved a solo act by owning the whole process could scale like a blockbuster film. That changed the game. He created a new model.
And that became his blueprint, right?
Yeah.
This idea of vertical integration.
Absolutely. He wasn't just in movies like Ride Along or Jumanji. He strategically co-produced them, got a piece of the back-end profits. When he toured, he didn't just sell tickets through Ticketmaster. He fought to retain the ticketing data. Knowing who his fans were, where they live, what they liked, that's gold. Studios usually keep that lockdown tight.
So he had direct, Audience insight.
Crucial insight. And if something went viral online, he didn't just enjoy the buzz. He'd immediately figure out how to repackage that momentum into an owned asset, a new digital short, an exclusive special, something that had lasting value beyond the trend.
And this all came down to how he negotiated deals, didn't it?
Fundamentally, he grasped this core concept. Stars get paid once for the performance, maybe some points, but owners get paid forever. Equity, royalties, ongoing revenue.
So in those big movie deals, he wasn't just looking at the upfront salary.
Not primarily, no. He was pushing hard for back-end deals, a percentage of the gross after the studio recouped costs. He fought for merchandising rights. And again, that audience data control. He was carving out pieces of the pie that most actors wouldn't even think to ask for. He built a system that rewarded his ownership, not just his performance.
And clearly, it worked. By 2022, Heartbeat Productions wasn't just a small shingle anymore.
Oh no, it became a full-scale media company, merged with Laugh Out Loud, his digital network, and then secured a massive $100 million investment from Avery Partners, a private equity firm.
$100 million.
Yeah.
Just for his production company.
Yep. Specifically to scale up production, build infrastructure, acquire intellectual property. He wasn't just an actor making content, he was building the platform itself.
What did that money actually let them do, practically speaking?
It was rocket fuel. They hired top executives from major studios, built out production facilities, basically created a mini studio capable of greenlighting and making its own movies and shows. They could buy rights to books, scripts, really scale out.
And the financial impact?
Huge. His combined ventures reportedly pulled in over $150 million in revenue in 2023. Heartbeat now employs over 60 people. They're making content for Netflix, Peacock, Amazon, partnering with big names like Wesley Snipes, Chelsea Handler, Tiffany Haddish. He became a studio head. That's incredibly rare, especially for Black entertainers in Hollywood. He was controlling the narrative from the top.
And then came Heartbeat Ventures on top of that.
Right, his investment arm. But again, very strategic, focusing on lifestyle, health, wellness, creator tech.
Things that align with his brand.
Exactly. It wasn't random. Look at the investments. Hydro, the connected rowing machine, Therabody, recovery tech, Pathwater, sustainable bottled water, MoonPay, getting into Web3 infrastructure. Each one reflects his identity. High energy, performance, audience focused. He turned his brand into a filter for his investments. He could add value beyond just money, his audience, his insights.
And he's very open about the goal behind all this, isn't he? Generational wealth.
Very explicit. He says, I'm building generational wealth, not just for me, but for the people I work with, for my kids, for the culture. It's a mission that drives the business decisions.
So if you had to boil down his wealth strategy.
It's really 3 core moves, simple to say, hard to do. 1, own everything you possibly can right from day one, even if it means less cash up front. That takes serious foresight and delaying gratification.
Hard in an industry built on big upfront paydays.
Extremely hard. 2, build your infrastructure before you hit peak fame, not after. Invest in the team, the legal, the business side while you're still climbing. Bet on yourself.
Okay.
And 3, convert your personal brand into actual platform equity. Make your name generate revenue even when you're not actively performing. That's the leap from comedian to mogul.
So he didn't just wait for the system to let him in.
He built a whole new system right alongside it. Converted creative power into business permanence. Scaled charisma into cash flow. Built a machine that generates deals, not just chases them. He built his own building, didn't just knock on the door.
Okay, most people know Kevin Hart's energy, his laugh, that relentless work ethic. But what's maybe less obvious is his core obsession. It's not money, it's not even fame, it's time.
It's almost militant, isn't it? Think about it. 4:45 a.m. LA is still asleep. He's up, getting ready. 5 a.m., he's in the gym. And this isn't for show, not for the gram primarily. It's just fundamental discipline for him.
6 days a week.
6 days a week. Intense workouts. Then it's sleep, like clockwork, 6-7 hours. Then writing every morning, recording podcasts, touring, producing, board meetings, family time, then reset, do it again. It's an operating system.
He has that quote, I don't manage time, I attack it, which sounds powerful, but also exhausting. Does that kind of intensity come with downsides we don't see? Personal life sacrifices?
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, he's been open about the challenges of balancing that drive with family life. Anyone operating at that level faces that constant negotiation, right? Making sure the time you do have is quality time. But interestingly, a lot of his collaborators say the discipline actually creates more focus. It eliminates wasted energy, wasted moments.
So the structure actually enables more, paradoxically.
That seems to be the feedback. And that attack it mentality, that's his unique edge. Execution speed. He doesn't just have ideas, he turns them into reality. Fast. Relentlessly. People like The Rock, Ellen, Charlemagne Tygh, they all call him a machine.
But it's not just about less sleep.
No, it's about being 100% locked in when you are awake, hyper-productive. That's the gap, isn't it? Lots of people have dreams. Very few have the daily structure to compound those dreams into reality.
Hearing about 4.45 a.m. workouts makes my snooze button feel inadequate. But there's something deeper driving this, isn't there? It's not just ambition.
No, it's fueled by something raw. He talks openly about this deep fear of going back to having nothing, fear of being invisible again, fear of wasting the opportunity he fought so hard for. It comes directly from seeing his mom struggle, seeing his dad struggles. It's visceral.
So even now, at the top, he operates like he's still hungry.
Exactly, like he hasn't made it yet. He measures success differently. It's not about followers or dollars for him, it's about impact velocity. How many people can he inspire by his example? That's why he shares the grind, the gym, the writing. It's not bragging, it's an invitation.
Like saying, if I can do this.
Right. He directly challenges excuses. You're not tired, you're unorganized. That's a tough pill for some people to swallow, right? Because it puts the responsibility back on you.
Definitely.
Think you don't have time. He built an empire between 4 a.m. and noon, too tired to exercise. He hits the gym after a 3-hour show at midnight, don't know where to start. He started with a notebook and a rented mic.
So he's not shaming, but showing the difference between wanting it and doing it.
Precisely. Talent is basically irrelevant without tempo, without that consistent rhythm of action. And that operating rhythm, that's become almost his most famous trait.
More than the joke sometimes.
Arguably, yeah. He thinks like a SEAL mission planning, precision. Executes like a startup founder, fast iteration, scaling. Reflects like a monk, constantly assessing, adjusting. His calendar isn't meetings, it's missions.
And each mission tied to that question.
Will this compound into something that lasts? He chases momentum, not just moments. Builds systems, not just buzz.
So the big takeaway for us listening is, maybe we don't need more motivation.
Maybe what we really need is more structure. He isn't superhuman, he's just super consistent. He turned routines into rituals. Discipline became part of his personality, behavior became his brand.
So really ask yourself, what if you stopped waiting for motivation? What if you just built a system that pulled you forward, even on bad days?
Because Kevin Hart didn't win by always feeling inspired. He won by making his discipline louder than his doubt, every single day.
Kevin Hart's made millions laugh, but life definitely threw him some serious curveballs. And his decision-making now, his whole philosophy, seems forged in the fire of almost losing it all and then owning that struggle publicly.
Yeah, the car crash in 2019 was a huge turning point. September 2019, late night, his classic Plymouth Barracuda goes off Mulholland Highway.
I remember seeing pictures. The car was mangled.
Totally crushed. He suffered 3 spinal fractures. Doctors said he was lucky to be alive, lucky he wasn't paralyzed. Months of agonizing physical therapy. He couldn't move without pain. His career just stopped. Everything paused. His body, this thing he'd trained like a weapon, had, as he put it, betrayed him.
And being forced to be still, that must have been incredibly hard for him.
That stillness was the crucible. For years, he'd been this relentless engine moving, producing, performing, rarely stopping to really think deeply. The crash forced him to ask those hard questions he'd maybe avoided, like, why am I actually doing all this? Who am I if I can't work? If I died tomorrow, what really matters? What legacy am I leaving? It was a profound shift, moving from just grind harder to something deeper, live clearer, more purpose.
And that changed how he ran his business too, not just his personal life.
Absolutely. It fundamentally shifted his decision-making. He started thinking less like just a performer chasing the next gig and more like a steward of his time, his energy, his influence. The why behind the hustle got redefined.
So fewer projects maybe.
Yeah.
More selective.
Exactly. He started asking, does this align with who I want to be, not just what I want to earn? That meant being more thoughtful about partnerships, using his voice more intentionally. It wasn't just about volume anymore. It was about values.
Which ties into that idea of legacy equity you mentioned.
Precisely. He doubled down on things like Heartbeat Ventures, not just for the financial return, but to invest in wellness, sustainability, ownership, things he wants to pass down philosophically, not just financially. Values embedded in the assets.
And part of this shift was also becoming radically transparent,
right,
showing the messy parts.
Yeah, that really matured after the crash and other challenges, showing pain, not just polish. The Netflix doc, Don't Fix This Up, is a prime example. He let cameras film him dealing with the fallout from the 2017 cheating scandal.
That was incredibly raw. He didn't hide anything.
No hiding, no deflecting, no spin doctoring, just Raw, emotional honesty about his mistakes and the impact on his family.
Which links to his philosophy. Tell the truth before someone else does.
It's more than just PR, right? It's about taking control of your own story. It's about healing publicly. It's about being seen, flaws and all, without fear. That takes courage, especially in the spotlight.
And teaching his kids how to own their choices, too.
Exactly. How to navigate consequences with integrity, which leads to another powerful quote of his. You can't be a boss until you've lost like a boss.
Okay, unpack that. Lost like a boss. What did that mean in practice?
It's become his decision filter. He makes choices now based on who he wants to become after a potential failure, not just on how to avoid failure. It explains some of his riskier moves.
Like the plant-based restaurant, Hart House.
Yeah, or backing unique startups that might not pan out. He's okay with pivoting, with things not working, because he's learned how to extract the lesson and move forward. He trained himself to lose forward. Take the hit, learn from it, grow from it, keep building.
Which is so countercultural, isn't it? We celebrate wins, hide losses.
Totally. His approach is radical. Fall publicly, learn visibly, grow loudly, don't pretend it didn't happen, use it.
So it's not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward.
Exactly. It's about resilience forged through facing adversity head on. So the question for you listening is, if you lost everything tomorrow, job, status, maybe even physical ability, would the choices you're making today still make sense? Kevin learned, through intense pain and public failure, how to answer yes to that. And that clarity, that resilience, that might be his most valuable asset.
So Kevin Hart didn't just want a seat at the Hollywood table. He built his own damn table. And then, importantly, he started inviting other people to sit down. He just bypassed the traditional gatekeepers.
In an industry built on who you know and getting past gatekeepers, Kevin realized true power wasn't just getting attention. It was building the infrastructure that creates opportunity. He wasn't satisfied being hired. He wanted to own the system.
Which brings us back to the Laugh Out Loud Network, launched in 2017.
Right. While other comedians were still chasing traditional network specials, Kevin partnered with Lionsgate to build a whole digital comedy platform. On the surface, yeah, maybe it looked like a vanity project.
But underneath,
it was a strategic Trojan horse. A scalable, data-driven content engine designed to completely bypass traditional media bottlenecks. He didn't just want to be on YouTube or Facebook, he wanted to feed them content, be the source.
So he controlled the pipeline.
Exactly. LOL started producing original shows, backing emerging comedians, licensing formats. It amassed millions of views, all under his direction. It became a launch pad for diverse voices often ignored by the mainstream, a sandbox for trying new things. Strategic. He knew if he built the distribution, relevance would chase him.
And this kind of power thinking, it wasn't just limited to media tech, right? It's in his partnerships, too.
Absolutely. He chooses partners who see him not just as a celebrity endorser, but as a platform themselves, a direct line to a massive, engaged audience.
Like the Gran Coramino tequila.
Perfect example. He didn't just put his name on a bottle. He co-founded it with Juan Domingo Beckman from Jose Cuervo, deeply involved from day one, product, story, strategy, charity. Then the partnership with the Philadelphia Eagles.
His hometown team.
Exactly. That wasn't just business. It was like emotional brand architecture, weaving together legacy, community, sports, culture. Brilliant. Same with Fabletics Men, co-creating affordable sportswear for regular guys, then weaving it into his social media authentically, not just like ads.
So every project connects to a bigger map.
Every project is a node on that map,
Right.
connected by trust, by scale, by his core identity. It's all layered.
And maybe the most underrated part of his power is his relationships, relationship equity.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
That's key. He's mastered upward partnerships and lateral amplification.
Okay, explain that. Upward and lateral.
Upward means working with giants like Netflix, Nike, Amazon, leveraging their scale for his reach. But lateral amplification is just as important. He actively lifts his peers, gives other comedians, writers, producers access to the ladders he climbed.
How does he do that specifically?
Producing specials for unknown comics on LOL. Co-hosting shows with rising social media stars to boost their profiles, investing in Black-owned startups through Heartbeat Ventures. He genuinely believes in expanding the circle.
That quote again. If I'm the only one rich in my circle, then I failed.
And that's not just being humble, it's strategy. He understands that real power grows when you empower others. It creates a network effect, a loyal ecosystem where everyone benefits. That's why he doesn't waste his platform on petty fights or reacting to everything.
He builds narratives instead.
Enduring narratives. Look at how he handled the Dave Chappelle situation, defending free speech while making space for dialogue. Or the Oscar thing, stepping back, taking accountability, redirecting focus. He plays the long game with his influence.
Building story arcs, not just viral moments.
Exactly. Which is why his influence lasts. It's built on consistency, clarity, care, not just shock value.
So the real lesson here.
Real power isn't being the loudest. It's designing the room. Deciding who gets in, who gets amplified, what the conversation is about. Kevin mastered direction, not just attention. He built structures for others to grow within. So ask yourself, are you just collecting followers? Or are you building a community, a system where they can thrive with you? He chose the latter. That's powerful.
Okay, here's a thought that really flips the script on success. Kevin Hart didn't build his empire by somehow avoiding crisis. He built it anticipating it, planning for it. Because let's face it, every major figure faces setbacks.
That's so true. And Kevin's had his share publicly. We talked about the car crash in 2019, a huge physical and mental challenge. But even before that, there were other major tests.
Right, like the cheating scandal in 2017.
Yeah, that blew up just as his global fame was peaking. It went viral instantly. The internet turned, sponsors got nervous. That relatable Family Guy image took a massive hit. It was intense.
And then the Oscars fiasco in 2018.
Another firestorm. Announced as host, huge career peak, then bam, old homophobic tweets surface. Outrage, pressure from all sides. He handled it awkwardly at first, refused to apologize, then stepped down anyway. In both situations, he was being tested very publicly, not just as a star, but as a person dealing with real consequences.
But how did he navigate that? What was his playbook?
It evolved, but it boiled down to clarity, speed, and that radical transparency we discussed. He didn't hide or spin, he learned to reframe. Turn the scandal into a moment for reflection, for dialogue, even for content like the documentary.
But that transparency must have been incredibly difficult facing that kind of backlash.
Immensely difficult. It takes guts to be that vulnerable on a global stage. But don't fluff this up, wasn't just damage control. It was him using crisis as a curriculum for himself, his audience, his brand's evolution. It shows he understands a key truth. Stagnation, refusing to learn and adapt, that's the real enemy of an empire, not the crisis itself.
So reputation is like a stock.
Exactly. It dips, it rises. But the key is hedging, diversifying, investing long term. He learned not just to weather storms, but how to navigate through them and come out stronger, or at least wiser.
Which seems to be why, after those crises, he leaned even harder into the 20-year game.
Precisely. That's where Heartbeat Ventures really shows its strategic depth. It's not about chasing quick flips. It's about building long-term, enduring value.
In those specific sectors.
Yeah.
Wellness, fintech, sustainability.
Enduring sectors. His logic seems to be low ego, long runway, high alignment. Why hydro? Connected fitness is infrastructure, path water. Sustainability is inevitable. Heart House, the plant-based chain. That's a generational shift in eating. He's identifying macro trends and building for decades, not just quarters. Building for a world where attention shifts constantly, but ownership and real value last.
And part of that long-term armor building is also podcasting, like gold mines.
Definitely. After facing so much external scrutiny, launching his own podcast platform makes perfect sense. It's a space where he controls the conversation 100%. He builds authority, interviews leaders, shows a different side. It's armor.
So the whole system is built with resilience in mind.
Absolutely. It's ready for the next inevitable crisis. Diverse content channels, capital reserves, brand goodwill, institutional partnerships. He's insulated, not exposed. That's long-term thinking. And it goes even deeper. He said, you don't build wealth for today. You build it for the day you're no longer here.
Thinking about succession.
Everything's designed with that in mind. Top operators running the companies, financially literate family learning the business, community involvement building broad support. It's legacy infrastructure.
So the ultimate lesson here isn't about avoiding failure.
It's about architecture. Crisis doesn't ruin great businesses. It just reveals if they were designed to withstand pressure. Kevin became great not by dodging rain, but by building incredibly strong roofs way before the storm clouds even gathered. That's the long game.
So the final question for everyone listening.
Are you building something that can survive the headlines, the downturns, the unexpected? Or is it fragile, dependent on things staying exactly as they are? Because if you want Kevin Hart's kind of enduring success, you need his kind of timeline, his kind of preparation. You need to build those roofs now. #tag outro.
Wow. Okay, so Wrapping up this deep dive, what are the biggest takeaways from Kevin Hart's journey? That $450 million empire. It's clearly not just luck. It's not just being funny.
Not at all. It's about that fundamental owner's mindset, even when he had nothing. Moving like a CEO, strategically, even on stage, and choosing that relentless discipline day in, day out, especially when no one's watching.
He didn't chase opportunities. He built platforms where opportunity had to find him.
Exactly. He got that fame is temporary, but systems, ownership, that's sustainable. So he built equity in his name, built companies around his content, built a future that works even when he's not working.
And in doing all that, he kind of redefined winning, didn't he?
Completely. Not just making money, but building meaning. Not just growing fast, but growing right, with intention. Not just surviving failure, but using it to transform.
He showed that crisis doesn't kill momentum.
Ego does. And that real freedom, that ultimate prize, it's not just the paycheck, it's the architecture you build around your values, your vision.
So, if you've stuck with us through all of this, you probably realize this deep dive wasn't just about Kevin Hart. It was about you too. Your own ideas, your patterns, maybe your excuses, and definitely your potential.
Yeah, because the truth is, you don't need to be a world-famous comedian to build something incredible, but you do need to be fearless about your future. You know that feeling. Working hard, pouring everything in, but still feeling stuck. Got the talent, the drive, but the system just doesn't seem to work for you.
Waiting for the break, waiting for permission.
Waiting for the right time. Kevin Hart waited too, for a while. Then one day, he just stopped waiting. He built his own thing, told his own story, bet on himself before anyone else would.
Maybe that's the nudge someone listening needed today.
Maybe. You don't have to be the biggest name. You just have to own your lane and work it like it matters. Because it does.
So think about it. Have you ever had to start over? Ever turned pain into a plan?
Yeah.
Ever felt overlooked and decided, screw it, I'm writing my own playbook?
If that resonates, then welcome. You're part of a community of builders, people who are done waiting, people who are ready to build something that lasts.